Welcome to Speak Network. Trying something new this morning. You hear music? Wait, I gotta make sure I'm live. Oh, that's not it. It's face diaper. Hey, Christine. Other screen. What's that mean? Can you hear the music? I got the music loud. Can you hear the music? Face diaper. I got my face diaper on. I want to have a conversation this morning. Can y'all hear me? And can you hear the music? This music makes me so happy. I don't know why. That's because it's the indicator I'm about to talk to people that's got some common damn sense. So I'm gonna have a few people on this morning. Anybody want to do a panel? Anybody want to come on? Let's talk. Bring your face diaper though. You gotta bring your face diaper. You gotta be safe. Oh, Diane, come on. Bring your face diaper, girl. Get your face diaper. You're gonna be safe when we do this. We're not gonna offend the king. I don't know if this is gonna work. I have to play with my headset and the music. We'll see if we can make that work. Oh, Diane is coming on. I think Chris is coming on too. Face diaper crew. Uh-oh, look, I'm unsafe. I'm not saving grandmama. Hold on. Gotta make sure I'm saving grandma. We don't want nothing spreading. Diane, where's Diane? Let me find Diane. Sean Black is in the house. Good morning. Face diaper. Put your face diaper on. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta drink coffee. This ain't gonna work. Damn it. Houston, we got a problem. We got a problem. I didn't think about that. I can't drink coffee. How are you supposed to drink coffee in a face diaper? That's a good question. Hang on, let's bring Diane and send her a link. We shrink this, flip this, smack that, rub it down. Oh no! How do you drink with a face diaper? How are we supposed to do this? How they used to rob like the wagon trains with these things on? How do we? Because damn it, maybe from the side. You know what? You know why I like to wear this? One, because y'all crazy as hell. Two, I like to wear this because you know what you can do? I was showing my son this. While everybody's out there scared of the air, you can roll it up, the bandana. What you do is you roll it up on the inside like that. And you got all this fresh air comes through here. Look at this, all this right here. This is air. This is what humans need. Fresh air like this. Breathe. All right, I'm done. No, we're not going to be safe. No, you don't need a face diaper. I'm joking, Diane. I don't do face diapers. Nope, not interested. As I think Tony Smith posted. He had a good post. He said, my face diaper is my immune system. Although I don't think he used the word face diaper. All right, good morning, Sean Black. We're going to be in the house today. We're just going to have a conversation this morning. That's all I want. What's this? So I got to split my screen. I have one's a shawl. Yeah, that's a good idea. A shawl, but make sure that you wash it. Got to wash the face diaper. All right. Boom. Let me see. Might catch cuckoo virus through the phone. You just might, Diane. You just might. You don't know. You don't know because it's coming through the television too. It's coming through all types of means and ways. RC Bush is in the house. Good morning. Early today. Yes, Miss Lori. I'm trying to get on early on time. Good morning, Carrie. How you doing this morning? Oh, Travis is in the house. Big brother Travis. It's been a minute. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I go everywhere without face diapers. That's because you're in Belgium. You're cheating. You're cheating. You have a government. We don't have a government here. You're cheating. Stop cheating. Oh, we did have good news. We did have good news. Stacy, don't even talk to me. Stop it. Stacy, go away. You just go away. Nope, because I don't like live streams without faces. You know, y'all just know Stacy used to live stream, but she'd never be on camera. She would show like a chair or a bench, a sock or a foot. She would never show her face. Stacy, you don't get to talk to me today. She didn't want to live stream. All right, who's coming on? Lori, you coming on? RC Bush, I know you coming on. Sean, I know Sean's coming. Who wants to come on and just talk a little bit? Thought you might. What's this? Oh, look, I think I might be able to click on links now if we do it this way. You might not have seen it. Zero evidence of cuckoo virus. Yeah, I think I've seen this one. Hang on, let me see if I can copy it. Damn it, Sean. Man, are you talking Koch's postulate? That sounds like science. We don't do science today. No, brother. We do science. All right. Stacy ain't coming on. Stacy ain't coming on. See, the brothers like Sean, they have these things called links, and you click on them and you read them, and they do things like educate you. You know what? I was thinking about that this morning too, Sean. Is everybody's got to do their own research. You got to do your own research. We live in a time where anybody's got power over you. They're gonna say, yeah, everybody has power over you is going to abuse you. We need to let that go. We need to move on. We got to move the ship on. It's like the black elite hate the black lower class, and they use the black middle class to fight the black lower class and keep them down. The white elite never liked the poor whites, and they use the white upper middle class to keep the other ones down. And no matter where you go, we live in this crony world. There's something crony about our very existence. Like something, who was the brother posted yesterday? Bofon. Good Lord have mercy. I can't believe I'm going to quote Bofon. He had a great thing. He said, he's a deep brother between the anus cakes and cookies and pies and memes, putting people's faces on women and criminals and people from ancient times. He said that you're not going to get rid of sociopathy with a society. The whole purpose of a society and the government is to help the sociopaths to thrive. He posted that yesterday on a Jonathan Close video. And I was listening to a lecture earlier that day, Sean, and what the person had said is that sociopaths, they don't do well in egalitarian societies. In the past, they never did good. They never made it because they would just get killed, right? There was no reason for a sociopath back then. But now they created governments and societies where we give up our sovereignty. We give up our rights as men and women and children, and the state is the sovereign. So as long as the state is the sovereign, and it's a social existence, then the people who thrive in sociopathy who don't actually contribute anything other than they can get people behind them to do things, that they thrive in societies. These sociopaths have no place when you just have to do something and the individual is in power. That was pretty deep. But yeah, we got to stop trusting people. Everybody got to do their own research. And then, Sean, to add to that, Corbett did a video this morning about oh Lord, I might have to play. I'm gonna have to try something, see if I can play. I have a new idea. I might be able to play videos with conversations. He did a video called "Do Your Own Research." So all that kind of fits together, I think. I have multiple personalities. Stacy, girl, you don't tell nobody that. Don't even. This is where Lori said, "Yeah, we just come on Gerard's show to get abused." I'm not abusing Stacy. I love Stacy to death. Her profile. You should go back to the man profile picture, Stacy. Listen, and I'm not abusing Stacy. Any woman who can have a profile picture with a mustache and a beard and still look fine as hell, that's that's a beautiful woman. Love Stacy to death. Anyway, make that garden is what it's all about. Yes, brother, self-empowerment. Back to the garden, back to the garden. All right, so I'm gonna do a conversation. If anybody wants to come on, I'm gonna let it be about y'all. I'm gonna isolate the commentary and change the music. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? What's on your mind this morning? I'm not gonna abuse you with my power to set the conversation. I want all the people who aren't a part of the truth community to talk about Perhaps the things that we don't know, that we never knew, that we thought we knew, that individually we can't ever know. We're a collective. We only work together as humble servants. Oh, let me see. I'm gonna try to see if I can play the Corbin video. It would be interesting. Can y'all still hear the music? Can y'all still hear it? And YouTube and Facebook, they should all be together right here. So y'all should see some weird people and some weird names all in the same commentary. History. If you can hear the music, then you should be able to hear the video if I play it here. Playing around my format. And I was having trouble with my software this morning. I couldn't get it up. The sheep won't research anything. They wait for CNN to tell them yes. And Diane, survival of the fittest never ended. People who wait for the king's letter, the king's edicts to tell them what's going on, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. Ooh, what's the name? And there was a good thing on banking. We might actually have a piece of good news this morning, y'all. Might actually have a piece of good news. I was listening to Max Kaiser. If y'all heard him this morning. I actually had to post it on my site. I'm going to try to get active on my site again. What's the name of it? I forgot the name of my site. I'mHumanX.com. I think that's what it is. Somebody posted a link. It's getting interrupted. So is the music getting up? Don't hear you don't hear the music at all? Oh, that sucks. I turned it down. All right, let's see if we can test a little bit. Well, if you can hear the music, I know you hear the video. Making that guard. Yeah, that guard is what it's all about, Sean. Oh man, taking care of people. That's who we are. That's who we've always been, especially as men. We have physical strength. It's never to abuse women, to hurt women. It's never to abuse the children or hurt the children. It's always to take on those abusing the children and the women. And pulling that damn plow when the ox doesn't want to do it. I'm gonna try something else here. I'm gonna put my headset into my thrift store device. I got some speakers from the thrift store. Ooh, Lord, is that loud? Can y'all hear the music? I don't know how to make this work if y'all can't hear it. You can hear music. So Katie, how do you hear music and Rebecca doesn't? Rebecca, you got a cat or some monkeys or a gorilla or a crocodile that's loose. Might have something gnawing on cords. I hear music without interruption. So Laura hears it good too. Yeah, it's just Rebecca. It's just Rebecca. You got some snakes that got loose, girl. You got the music went off. Okay, so it works this way. See, look at that. Rebecca trying to trip people up. The fake news. Oh, here comes brother Chris Lewis. Chris Lewis' house. Let me turn this up a little bit. Bring this brother in. Chris will give you a minute. Are you purdy? I'm gonna bring your camera in. Are you purdy? You got your makeup on. There you go. Yep, you look good. All right. Because sometimes you bring Chris on. Chris got to get things together first, move some stuff around. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm kind of testing.
Good morning.
I'm testing out speakers. Can y'all hear Chris? Is there an echo?
Me.
Oh, Lord.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. Do y'all hear Chris?
Can y'all hear me? Let me know, please. I'll turn it up. Try to fix the volume.
No, don't do anything, Chris. Let's look and see what happens first.
Okay.
Oh, no echo. That's weird.
That's good.
That's weird. Okay, so if anybody's having problems, try to go out and come back in. Oh my goodness.
Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Lori. Rebecca, how you doing? I could read the comments in yours, G. Mine's I can't keep up with the comments and stuff. You know what I mean? I can keep up with yours. You got the good stuff.
All right. Let me ask one more question. Yeah. We'll kind of get into things.
Okay.
Should I turn the music down a little bit? Because people always get on me for this. Should I turn the music down so you can hear Chris better? Am I louder than Chris? It's like sound team.
Hello, Elizabeth. Diane, I can see you. Sean Black, what up?
So I'm gonna go with that. I guess we're good. The sound is at a good volume. Ooh, let me do one more test. Did you see the Corbett this morning?
What was that?
Corbett, well, he wasn't this morning. Corbett report. Did you see the Corbett report about do your own research?
Oh no. I haven't watched Corbett Report in a minute. It's been a minute since I watched any outside political chatter.
Okay.
I really stopped watching like last year or the beginning of this year when the COVID stuff happened. I was like, yo, I'm done. I'm not following. I can't follow all this political shit. It's too much. It's too much shit going on in real time spiritually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm wrestling with myself spiritually and systematically. So it's like I gotta keep my mind guarded whenever I can. So it's like I just canceled out all the political noise because I knew what to expect this election season or whatever the case is. But I haven't really been keeping up with a lot of the people that's like, you know, other than you and the folks like on a Facebook stream and stuff like that.
It's a lot. What do you think about the idea of do your own research? What do you think about like trusting news, trusting people, trusting leaders, trusting politicians, trusting science? What are your thoughts on do your own research?
You know what the hell I think? This shit is necessary. This shit is and you know me, I'm one of the people that used to be a dumbed down, fooled up, numbed up, you know what I mean, sheeped up, whatever the case, you know, all the different labels you want to call these people, ignorant, idiotic, insane, all these other things they label like voters and red party people, blue party, you know, every side is calling the other side all this and all that. And I used to be that, you know what I mean? Because I didn't research. And when I started to do research on my own without the bias, because this is the thing, people don't realize that the programming is connected to the way that they research. You know, you're researching more or less not based on your own intuition, you know what I mean? Because you didn't pay the tuition for your internal awareness to be there. You didn't pay your tuition, you know what I mean? So therefore, you did pay into the tuition of the instruction you were given by the institutions. You know what I mean? Everybody paid and everybody invested in that. You know, 12 years a slave, you did that. 4 extra years of extra credit, you did that. And you invested, and guess what? You're receiving the benefits from that, which is ignorance. You know what I mean? When it comes to the issues, you know, not when it comes to like life and stuff like that, because, you know, everybody comes into their own experience in life to where they learn a lot of things that are very, very valuable for systematic maneuvering, but also for like social maneuvering with people. But the thing is this, what's more valuable, you know, systematic information or the natural information that's been present since the beginning of time? You know, this is where do your own research clicks with me, because I realized that when I used to do research, I was led with my biased thinking or my biased logic. So it's like when it comes to politics, as a liberal, as an African-American liberal, I was led to look at things in a specific type of way. And what that did was blinded my eyes from seeing the whole picture. You know what I mean? Because when you're a black man in America, white man, whatever you've been told you are in America, you have a different way of seeing things than everybody else. Okay? That's based on your characteristics that they give you. You know what I'm saying? But think about this. Your naturally wired self, okay? Your naturally wired individual self has a unique way of processing and assessing all events and information outside of your given characteristics. But the thing is, people don't understand what that is. You know, people don't understand who they are outside of their given characteristics. So if I was to say, like, when I say this to people, like, I'm not African American, I'm not a black man, I'm not an American, I'm not a Democrat, liberal, I'm not none of that shit. You know what I mean? I'm not religious in the way, you know, I don't follow none of that's a turnoff, because now I'm a crazy person. You know what I mean? Because I don't take on the characteristics that are attached to what the society created me to be. But your research shows, because look, people that are, you know, Caucasian research with the mind of a Caucasian in America, you know. So people that are Caucasian in Britain research with the mind of a Caucasian person in Britain because of the instruction that they were given. But the thing is, in 2020, but basically every year, people are waking up. You know, people are becoming aware of what's going on. So they're taking themselves away from those labels so that way they can have clarity when they do research. You know, you need clarity when you research, because it's more about information than your personal feelings. You know, everybody, today is 2020. So, you know, when you get online and political, you're going online to, I hate Trump. You know, so when you hate Trump so much, that's where your research is going to follow. Oh, I hate Trump, so it's easy to click on the article that says, "Oh, Trump did this stupid shit." So now you're clicking on that article like, "Yes, I knew he was an idiot. I knew he was an idiot." Your fake feelings are being affirmed by the program. You know what I mean? Because it's all connected. And it doesn't matter if you love Trump. If you love Trump, they got something where you can go online and click and say, "Oh, I love Trump. He does something great for the country." See, those idiot liberals don't know what they're talking about. Trump is the best. You know, everybody on each side is hooping and hollering because they are filling their cups up with the bias. The bias, you know, it's fulfilling to them. You know, it's comforting them. The bias is that the fuel is being added to the fire. Okay, but the thing is, the fire wasn't started by themselves. The fire was started by the program. You understand what I'm saying? Because the program put inside your mind that you should hate this person. The program put inside your mind that you should dislike those people, or because of this, that, or whatever they created. And this is not you. You know, this is not us. This is not me. Yeah. So when it comes to the research part, I had to really go off of my intuition. You know, but the thing is, I had to start paying into that. You don't just, your intuition is always there, but you have to actually invest in it. You know, you have to invest inside your internal awareness or your internal being to where you can see the outside for what it is. You know what I mean? Especially the information, because that's how societies are moved based on information. So what you put in is going to dictate how you act. And as a collective body of people, the majority of people are putting in stuff that's from the program, you know, so it's not unity. They're not speaking unity. And the information that people research, it's not unifying. You know, it's always divisive, you know, and it has some, like, to be perfectly honest, either side you talk about, whether it's Democrat or liberal or whatever the case is, it's some factual information inside of the things that they put out there. You know what I mean? But it's just, you know how it's like, you know, you have a drink and you change the makeup of the drink when you put a whole bunch of sugar in it. You know what I mean? You got water. I could put some lemon in the water and it's good, but then I could put some lemon and sugar in the water and then people will love it. You know what I mean? Because it has that flavor that they used to, which is that the added sugar that they don't need, but they so used to it, they got comfortable with it and they love it. It's like Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? You know how people say we're drinking a Kool-Aid. And that's what we've done up to this point. You know, it's not about black. It's not about white. It's not about whether you want to be American, whether you don't give a fuck about being an American, whether you know this law, whether you know that. It don't matter what you fucking know. You know what I mean? That shit is irrelevant right at this point in time. It matters based on, can we change our minds or not? You know, do you have the ability to change your mind? You know, that's what we're really struggling with right now. Do we have the ability to change our mind? And I think it starts with doing your own research outside of those biases and those divisive labels and things like that. You know what I mean? But it's just hard.
Yeah, I gotta jump on that because you opened up a whole can of worms that I never even really thought about.
Okay.
Right. Like, I mean, you and I have been there for a minute in terms of like not really subscribing to the racial narratives, the American narratives, the left-right paradigm, that nonsense, the religious ones. And so by default, I don't think about, when I do anything, when I research anything, that I need to look at it from a neutral perspective, right? I just get into it. You know, and if it comes up, says, hey, you know, America bad, okay, well, America bad. You know, if it says black people bad, then okay, it says black people bad. If it's Christian bad, then okay, well, then Christian bad. And I kind of move from that perspective. But most people aren't there yet. See, I think that what you just said, which was real powerful, is first, you have to join the human race. That's number one. Because if you're not a member of the human race, if that's not the priority, if what benefits the human race is not your priority, you still attached your identity, your intellect to an identity given to by the kings or by your birth. You won't, your research has to equal white people bad, or it has to equal black people bad, or it has to equal immigrant bad, or it has to equal Muslim bad, or non-American bad. You first got to wipe the slate clean. I think that might even be a scripture. Your first step isn't research, because I think we're screwing up. I think we're sending people off to research things, and if they, like you said in your example, if they want Kool-Aid, great Kool-Aid, you can add anything else to it that you want. when I'm done with this research, grape Kool-Aid equals good. You can add sugar to it. You can put a lemon in it. You can put stevia or whatever you want to put in it. But at the end of this research, it's going to mean that I'm right. My side is good. The other side is bad. And I'm going to view this research through a lens of this is making my side justified. The first step before any research, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think we have to get people to embrace rejoining the human race.
It sounds good.
So talent.
That's like when people be saying all this shit about how they want to see euphoria. It's, well, the world is supposed to be such a euphoric place and full of beauty and love and wondrous things. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but you can't ignore where we done came from. You can't ignore what's been put in, what's been invested into how we got here. You can't ignore all the programming that's been done to the people's. This shit is filthy, really, when you think about it. In the spiritual sense, it's filthy. You know what I mean? But in the systematic sense, it all is fine and dandy, because guess what?
Perfect.
They instruct you, okay? They instruct us to get comfortable in this shit. You know what I mean? So this is the one thing I realized. It does matter about how much you research, but if you ain't doing nothing after you research, it don't mean shit anyway. You know, you can fill your mind up with all the information that's out there and get all this knowledge and stuff, but if you ain't doing the right things with it afterwards, it don't mean shit. So it's like the conspiracy thing, you know, the truthers movements, all this shit. I had to shake these demons because the demons was coming after me. So it's like ego. I'm part of the progressive movement because I support Bernie Sanders. I'm better than the rest of the other people because they support Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, those crazy idiots. I support Bernie. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And then I had to take I had to sit myself down, you know, and assess what I was becoming. You feel me? Because I'm like, hold up. If I'm calling that we need to be united as a people, I can't sit there and tell other people that they need to join my team. You know what I mean? It's not about, if we want to unite people, it's not about teams. Okay, I ain't on the team no more. I want to reunite the people, but I ain't on the team. I'm on team human being, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? We're all the same animals, different color, whatever the case is. You know what I mean? But I'm on team world. You know what I'm saying? So
interesting. So there's another prerequisite.
Go ahead.
There's another prerequisite.
Okay.
So you actually got to be strong first. Because you're not going to be on your own team if you're weak.
No, you're not.
Now you said something else.
There you go. Yeah.
So, and Sean says something too, which is, you know, the difference between investigation and research. And before you begin investigation or research, you have to approach it from a non-biased perspective, or a non-biased identity. But before you even get there, you have to have the strength to be able to stand on your own too. So there's a strength aspect that I'm going to say most people don't have. And the reason why is because we're not born to be strong. We're born to be weak.
No.
What have you said? So I'm sorry, I said it the wrong way. So we're born in a society that requires us to be broken down, to be weak, right? And so not everybody is strong. And I would say most people are weak. Most people can't break out of their birth bigotry. They're locked into it. Most don't even want to because, and it's not like a bad thing against them. I was thinking about this yesterday. It's funny you say, because I was thinking, it's not a bad thing. And it's not a judgmental thing. There are some people who are born in locations that are so abusive, so indoctrinated, so, you know, that you couldn't possibly get out of it. Right?
You can't
shake it. And it doesn't really mean you're weak. And maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe the word is dependent. I'm not sure. But you have these dependencies where you have to fit in with a subhuman group, a race, a religion, a nation, because you don't have that fortitude yet to step out on your own and say, no, I'm not with y'all. So a prerequisite to even being able to have no identity and not attach your intellect to a subhuman group is you got to have the strength to be able to say, nah, black people, you wrong. Y'all need to slow. Nah, women, y'all going too far on this side. Nah, men. Nah. And so I think there's a lot to that. There's a lot more to it.
It's very, very complicated because it has to do with like, the structuring of our minds. This is something that's been going on this is not something that's just a lifetime of operations. This is centuries old. It might even be millenniums old, because what's been done is, bits and pieces have been taken from all the different eras of society, or just civilization, or whatever you want to call it, existence and this and that, and have been applied to what's going on today's time. So we're dealing with bits and pieces of all the different eras of societies, the civilizations, and many different peoples before us. We're dealing with a lot of the shit that they've went through, because it's like this too. Everything in my eyes is recycled. As we are beings, I don't believe we change so much that we change from who we really are today as far as our adaptability. You know what I mean? But what we were made and designed to be is damn near the same today as it was in the beginning of time, I believe. This is what I believe. I haven't done all the scientific research to confirm this, but I don't know if they even did it themselves to confirm it. But what I believe is we're the same beings, and the only thing that changes throughout the course of time is how we process the information of the reality that we see. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like when we're born into this society as it is, we're born into filth. You understand what I'm saying? Filth. I call it filth. There's many different ways you can call it, but I call it filth because they raise children they take who the children are away from them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like children are born free from the divisiveness of these societies that we currently live in. Children are born free from the manipulation, the deception. All children don't have none of this stuff. We program it into them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, in order for us to change this, we have to understand that we need to stop allowing the systems to program our children. But in order to get to that point, we have to step into that clarity that you mentioned. We have to take ourselves away and be centered on the fact that we don't need to be on the side. We need to be centered on the fact that, hey, it's going to be people that are going to judge me, that are going to crucify me, that are going to say these things to me that I never thought I'd hear, because I'm standing on the truth of my intuition, my understanding that I am a human being above all other things. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if they made you a black man. It doesn't matter if you could be proud of being American. You could be black and proud. You could be proud of your whiteness and all this other shit. It don't matter, Chinese, whatever. You're a human being above all other things. Okay, that's the starting point right there. Now, when you go inside the internet and when it comes to Democrats, the election season, I gotta go research. I need to know what's going on with this, with that. It's election season. So you know where you're going? To your favorite Democratic or liberal wording or point of view, because you don't like the other side. And that's the beginning. That right there, that's the beginning of the illusion. Is when you play into the sides. You know what I mean? When you start to play into the sides, you fell in right there.
This is my team. Yeah, this is my team. That's your team.
Chris, that's not your team. Because like this, I'm gonna tell you like this. As far as when it comes like blackness, I'm as black as you can be, but then at the same time, I ain't as black as you can be. You know what I mean? I'm neutral when it comes to, but it's like when it comes to being black, I can be black. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like the black struggle, now I ain't deal with all the shit that other black people dealing with as far as the struggle parts of the systematic operation. You know what I mean? But as far as being black, you did what I'm saying? At the same time, that ain't who I am.
Yeah. So let me a couple things.
Okay.
So it's who you're born as, right? Like we're all who we were born as. Like we can step outside of that. We can think bigger than that. We can go to a conscious plane and be neutral. Yeah. But you always are who you were raised to be, or you always have that function, right? You can always turn that back on when you need to, and if that's
it's like a light switch, yeah.
Yes, white, Asian, Hispanic, wherever you are, Christian, Muslim, you can turn it back on. And so that's a community that you relate to the most. And so what I took from that is you really should be using your function to police what you were indoctrinated to be the most, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm always, for the most part, I'm toe to toe with black people.
Okay.
I am. I love them to death. I love them to death because I love all people.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like I posted this morning, like the biggest problem with black people right now, and this is not a black, white, racial, anything.
Mhm.
Like you take your race and you tell me, or you take your indoctrination group and you tell me if this kind of fits in your group.
Mhm.
But the biggest problem I've seen through my life, now that I'm seeing with clearer eyes, is that the biggest problem with black people is the black elite. Because the black elite, they want to be the supreme elite. So
Okay.
they're perhaps in conflict with the white elite, whatever, Asian elite, Russian elite, whatever you want to put it. And so they keep an upper middle class black bourgeois group that has privilege over the lower middle class
Mhm.
and the poor. And so, Carter, what's going on, brother?
Say peace. Say hi.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You know what? So I'm glad he jumped in for a minute because that's what this is all about. This is all about making a freer world for the next generation. That's our only purpose here. And so what I see is you've got this black elite, and you can have a Christian elite, you can have a white elite, you can have an Asian elite, you can have whatever your group is. And they stack people just beneath them. And they give them just enough. And they give them this illusion that, yeah, you're going to be a black billionaire one day.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to be a black millionaire one day. We got to stick together. You're going to be a black thousandaire one day. Or one day you're going to get off of welfare. But we're all going to stick together.
Mhm.
But it's the same structure. It's the same class locking structure globally all over the planet. And so from my perspective, the absolute heaviest boot on top of poor minorities in horrible areas are the black upper middle class. Why? Because that's who they trust.
Okay.
Right? They trust them. They're born into such, again, the word weak is wrong. They're born into such scarcity that they evolutionary, you stick to people who look like you stick to people who are around you. And so they'll gel with them and they'll go along with it. What am I supposed to be, a Democrat? Okay, I'll be a Democrat. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do to protest this? Okay, I'll do that. But when you give that blind trust over, you're giving over your power. You're giving over your energy. And so when you give that over, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if our core programming is looking at beings and sticking to our life, then it means those who abuse us the most will be the ones we trust the most blindly. And I think that applies to all groups. And I haven't really thought that out. But I think that applies to all groups, which is kind of beautiful because it means the only way we get out of this is we got to go back to being human beings again.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's complicated. You know what I mean? It's complicated, especially being a black man in America. I know how complicated it is. Experiencing what I experienced as a black man in America, I know how complicated it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm supposed to be, well, I am kind of pissed off, but I ain't pissed off like a crazy person pissed off. But I'm pissed off to the point, but I'm still a little bit mindful of how I can act and things like that. But it's just messed up because the population or the collective body of black people are misdirected. And they have been the entire time being in America, you've been misdirected. You know what I mean? Because you've been guided to be black, as appropriation of the white man's systematic operation. You know what I mean? That's really all it is. And black people having nothing, needing shit, had to use what was there for them, which was the system of operations. Coming out of slavery, you ain't got shit. You're going to go back to being a slave, or you're going to go back to going up there up north. You're going to go up north and fuck with them businessmen. They give me business. They give me money. We going to make some money up north, baby. You going to catch that train. You going to miss the bus. A whole bunch of folk missed that bus. And guess where they got stuck at? The Red South. And you know how they were raised. I'm a conservative, you dumb motherfucker. And I'm an American. I'm a black American patriot. I mean, I'm a damn proud boy or whatever. Delusional. You know what I mean? I ain't got no hate for the folks. It's just the facts of what it is. And I can come. I'm up north. I'm from up north. Businessmen, everybody running around trying to progress, trying to make it and do this and that. Assimilation. Because what you're not saying is this. you're putting your children in danger. Not only you're putting your children in danger, you're putting all the other children in danger too. You know what I mean? That's what people are not saying. You know, they're saying, "Oh, we got to rush the break. We got to race to make it. We free now." You know what I mean? We've been free for a long time. You know, we've been free from a long time, but not up here. You know, we haven't been free up here yet in America. This is the reality, and this is it, G. I'm telling you, this is the fucked up reality of this. We haven't been free yet in America. I ain't even talking about black folk. I'm talking about everybody. You know what I mean? It ain't black, white. It's because look, for the majority of time, people move based on those systematic characterization. That's what people move like. That's how people communicate. You know what I mean? People don't come outside of it to say, listen, yeah, we told to be black. We told to be the best we can be as a black, be black and proud and all this and that, but that's not who we really are. You know what I mean? And we have to stop lying to ourselves about the need to coddle the feelings or systematic operations of the people that brought us here. You know what I mean? And it's nothing to get, see, white people get offended by the fact that black people bring up the history of slavery in America. And it shouldn't be that way, because white people should be the main ones to understand why black people are so frustrated, because they know what the fuck black people are frustrated. It ain't no, you can't just automatically assume that, oh, black people are frustrated for no reason. No. You got a right to be frustrated too. You know what I mean? It's not about, it shouldn't be just, this is where the trick gets, because like I said, they put you on the side. So now your frustrations are aligned with the people on your side, even though internally, you know, you need to be frustrated about a whole bunch more that's going on the other side that you shouldn't do, but you're not told to be worried about. You're like, oh no, fuck it. I want them to lose. I hate them so bad. I hope they die. Donald Trump voters, I mean, blue voters versus Donald Trump voters. I hope they die. They need to face. America would be so good without them. Yo, y'all motherfuckers is crazy. Y'all lost your damn minds, because you don't understand something. You going to work with them tomorrow. All those people you hate now, that fake hate you got, you're going to work tomorrow and you're going to shut the hell up and you're going to do everything you need to do to get that paycheck. And guess what? They're going to do the same. You know what I mean? They're going to do the same because everybody's playing the game. But the truth is, playing the game. When we leave the game, you know, you go to 9 to 5, play that game if you need to play that game, because that's what you choose which lifestyle you want to live. And honestly, people have followed the eyes or their eyes, you know, the line they've been lied to. The eyes, you know, they see the big houses, the big cars, the big this and big that, the best of everything. That we need the best of the best because we're American and that's just what we do. We don't go for nothing less than the best. That's how they program the majority of our children, to seek after the best of the best, not to utilize what's there for them. You know, because we have the people's the kid. We're told to look at, like you just dropped a gem, G, because you said the black folks look to the black elite because they're told to look up to the best of the best. You know, I'm inferior. That black man, he's the best ever. He's a great. I'm gonna look up to the rich folks. I'm gonna look up to the rich and the best of the. Oh yeah, they're the good guy. They're smart because they got rich in this system. So I want to be smart like them, or they're knowledgeable because they got educated in the American institution. So I want to be. And this all part of that illusion. You know what I mean? Because we're chasing after something that we don't have to chase after. We could just turn around and walk the other way. You know, this is all of us. We can turn around.
All of us. And I had to bring Bofon in because
our guy in. Bofon, what's up, big dog?
How you guys doing, man?
Good.
Morning. I had to go grab coffee before I came on. I was like,
I didn't even drink my damn. You know what I mean?
Let's make sure. Can everybody hear Bofon? Okay, gotta make sure everybody hears Bofon. So this is the brother, and why I appreciate Bofon the most. That's going to be hard. I'm not going to say that.
That's dangerous territory. You're trying to run on quicksand there, buddy.
He's a comedian. He's the one that makes going through the apocalypse funny as hell. I have to appreciate all the memers. Bofon is one. He'll live stream and meme, but it's those people who are putting together very simple, succinct statements and pictures that are keeping everybody laughing in hard times. But what I appreciate with Bofon the most, brother, what I appreciate is the fact that you keep it simple. As long as you have a government, you are empowering sociopaths, period. And that ties in what Chris just said, because as long as you have that, you're going to have people who are abusing you for what you look like, where you are, where you're born, for any other reason, because that's what they thrive at, sociopathy. I had to quote you yesterday because you said something in Klaus's live stream, which was amazing. You know, as long as we have a society, the sociopaths will rule it. And that tied in with the lecture I was listening to earlier that morning, which said that sociopaths, they suffer in egalitarian societies. They have no way of utilizing their strength. Mm-hmm. But I want to hand the mic to Bo. Go ahead. Can they say they can hear him?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Let me know.
Go.
So if y'all can hear me, one of the things that I want to touch on based on what you were just talking about keeping it simple. You almost have to keep it simple because we, and it's part of that sociopath tendency that we're talking about. You know, if you take a look at like people who are psychotic, people who are, you know, we have someone in our family who's schizophrenic. Their ability to render that baseline reality is compromised, and it doesn't mean that their baseline reality that they are rendering is not real. It's just we're not tuning into those stations the same way they are. Sociopathy is different because in a lot of ways we're throwing virtual temper tantrums at the actual realities that we're facing. It's a choice. That's why I always like to say fundamentally you're lying to yourself. It's the inability to be honest with yourself. The reason why I bring that up is because I think we all innately, if you keep it simple, you almost have to hit them in the head with it, because everyone, when we all do it, me included, we all want some kind of distraction and squirrel moment to take us from that truth, because at that point, then we have to actually do something. I jumped on a little bit, I think, you know, before your little thread, Chris, and, you know, what comes to mind, especially with BLM as an example, you know, power corrupts absolutely, right? There's no one in the general populace that benefits from this power structure. It is created strictly for the people who maintain power. But if you bring race into it, that's a distraction from that very reality, right? You're taking it from a systemic issue and talking about it from systemic terms, and then you start talking about it from incidental terms, that if you help that and allow us as an example to distract us, we'll spend all of our time making these small incremental changes and eating at the fringe without ever actually changing the game itself. But that's done by design. So that's one of the things that comes to mind, Gerard, when I hear you're talking about keeping it simple. And I feel like I have to do work to do that, but I think it's also important because I feel like you almost have to make it so obvious that they can't, like, that they have to overtly resort to sociopathic methods simply to change the conversation. That's why I always like to say an argument takes honesty. If you're not going to be honest in an argument, you're basically just manipulative, and that's abuse.
Absolutely.
That's real. That's real. I like the point he made about the BLM because it ties into your point also, Jay. You know, like the authority is dictating the actions of the people, you know what I mean? But it's also distracting the people and dividing people from the true purpose, you know what I mean? And that's something this is something that, like, you know, this year was real major for me as far as like the reality of all of the things that are just transpiring. And as far as the BLM situation with the whole George Floyd thing, that was really sad because, like, it was very incidental. Okay, whether people want to believe conspiracy, whatever, this and that, whatever. It was incidental, you know what I mean? But the truth is, systematically, this is every day. You know what I mean? Not just things that happen, like the specific incidents, like the black man dies from the hands of the police. These are specific incidents that are not tackled basically by the political infrastructure of the United States of America. You know what I mean? That's a social thing. You know what I mean? That's people talking to each other from young to upbringing to where there's no strife between racial lines, to where, you know, the police have the authoritative power to want to act in a manner where they can flex their muscles now, you know what I mean? Because they don't have any power. You know, it's also a struggle. It's a power thing too, you know what I mean? I can't do nothing systematically because I'm a peon, so I'm going to use whatever I can do to take. So, you know, it happens, it's incidents all throughout the system of operations.
I want to interject on the thread. I'm sorry, I thought you were done. But I want to differentiate between psychopaths and sociopaths. Psychopaths have almost a physical inability to kind of feel anything. That's one of the reasons why you see such a, like, great sharks are going to be great sharks because they're sharks. That psychopaths are that same way. I mean, they're great white sharks, and they almost have like a snowed, blind, emotional ability to feel. That's one of the reasons why they exhibit such extreme behaviors, because they're trying to feel something, anything, to give them some sense of depth in that environment. Now, sociopaths can get to a level of sociopathy based on years over years of OCD, confusing their persona for their true selves, that they can have psychotic breaks and turn into psychopaths. But there's a kind of a hard, meaning that they're wired, that behavioral time over time defense and upholding of that persona has turned into a psychopathic condition. But I like to kind of differentiate between the two, and that's one of the reasons why I like to talk about the sociopath a little bit more, and because that's literally a choice not to stick your head in the sand, and I think we deal with it daily. We deal with it a lot closer to home than people realize. It's not this unique small percentage, and we demonize the terms to make it seem like it's a faraway and extreme case when it's an everyday situation.
I got that. Every moment, it's moment by moment,
Right.
The exact quote from yesterday that hit me. So the state was created for the sole purpose of the consolidation of wealth and preservation of wealth. That's what the state is for.
That creates the class. That creates a class just in itself, and then
bodies in a bigoted identity group. We're all climbing to the top. We're all a bunch of rats on a sinking ship.
I mean, how are you going to consolidate beyond the populace that already existed beforehand? Who are you consolidating for at that point? And the thing, that's why I always like to say the state is capitalism, because at that point, primary level of capital is the means and ability to conquer and maintain authority and
Yes. And you have to have the people in belief.
If everybody needs capital, no matter your system, it's a capitalistic system. If everybody needs capital, you can have communism, socialism, or capitalism. But if it's based on those who have the most capital and they set the system up, the people with the most jewels, the kings and lords, and they've organized everybody into these subhuman groups, it's all capitalism, because everybody needs the capital to have power.
But I want to differentiate between free market, because they've been co-localized very successfully. Capitalism is if you look at the definitions, originating intent was the actual creation of a distinct capital class at the expense of other segments of the population. So that's why I always say the state is capitalism.
Yes, state. And people need to you need to repeat that as many times as you can, so that people understand their support of the state is supporting capitalism, which ultimately supports the disparities economically, because it's not really systematically, when we talk about all the things that happen and we're dealing with, it's really about money. Race ain't got shit to do with the systematic issues. It's all about money, financials and economics, and how we understand
money,
or how we don't understand it. People don't understand how it works, really, I don't think.
It's about money, it's about power. But I wanted to introduce Brother Joe. I don't know if y'all know Brother Joe. This is Brother Joe Workers from the Woodwind Media Group podcasting publisher. You want to introduce yourself? We did a talk last night. If you guys don't follow him, follow him. He's another one that's seeking truth.
Yeah, that's awesome. Got a nice setup here too, Big Bro.
Well, he's got a great setup.
It's I've worked hard on it. It's been I don't know, a year and a half. I just put in a lot of time into my studio, and I'm excited, and I'm excited about meeting you as well, Gerard, and and all your followers. I'm seeing we have a lot in common, so I'm looking forward to learning from all you guys. I keep learning, and this is knowledge is power, and the lack of knowledge, the people will perish. And yeah, I just came into alternative news just because of the seeing all the lies and trying to get the record straight, and also just curiosity as to what life is about. You know, we could read the Bible, but we can also look at history and try and dig into history. And so there's a lot of information, you know, that got convoluted. We talked about that last night. You know, just because of the power structures that have happened over the years, the power structures of governments and local governments and all this stuff, and then they start hiding information that they create illusions for us. You know, these are all illusions that we're in, and then the bill comes in the mail, and that's another illusion. So then I just keep getting these illusions in the mail.
Everywhere you go, there's more of them.
So it's
That's
interesting.
real. I believe that's real. It's an illusion. You know, we got to find a way to escape it. You know,
Yeah.
how do we escape?
There's one illusion that might be breaking up. I mentioned there's a little bit of good news this morning. I don't know if anybody was paying attention. I like to watch the Kaiser report because I like to follow banking and finance, like around the world's currencies, like we were talking about last night with the Federal Reserve. So there's an interesting that's happening with digital currency, right? So digital currency is actually the states are biting into digital currency, the governments. And so what's happening is China, I think just yesterday, they released their digital currency. So they're going to start sending money to people now and putting money in their wallets. The digital currencies are not debt-based. It's the bankers' currencies that are debt-based. And listen, I might even be able to play it if y'all want to listen to like a 4-minute clip. But he's basically saying that the governments are opposing the bankers. And so you're coming into a time where you have bankers fighting with bankers' currencies that are debt-based, fighting with government currencies, which are more, correct me if I'm wrong, they're more power-based, right? Because they're literally printing fiat currencies that are digital, and they're going to be rewarding people based on you maintaining approval of the state, right? So maybe that's a power base. I'm not really familiar with digital currencies, but they're taking on Bitcoin as well. So now this applies mostly to countries that have government stuff, right? So we don't have a government, we have a governing corporation. So if you truly have a government, then it really empowers the citizens, because if you have say in your government, it means now they're printing money for the purposes of your land, which is a beautiful thing. That's how things were designed to be initially. But if you have a governing corporation, you still got to deal with that corporation side of it. Like we have to repeal the Washington, D.C. Act of 1871. But it's good news anytime the juggernauts fight, not from the idea that it's a good idea to have a government. Yeah, I still really lean with the anarchy side and keep it simple like Beaufont says.
Okay.
But it to me, it feels like it might be a step in the right direction for nations that actually have their governments intact.
I don't know. I'm indifferent about the cryptocurrency, honestly, because I think it just opens the door for, like you said, more power struggle. But the thing is, like you just mentioned something that was amazing. You said the governments were going against the bankers. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, yeah, I'm brother. I will speak on the things I know, and I'm really hesitant on the things I'm not totally sure. It was something that Max Kaiser said, which there is on certain levels, yes, right? Other levels, no. It's kind of like how, you know, I hate this whole race thing, but we can say the white elite and the black elite are in conflict, right? They both want to be the power, they both want to rule. But on multiple levels, they still agree that they want to be the power, and you can't be, that you have to stay down there. So I think
So just to touch on what we were talking on Jonathan's.
Hold on.
I think it was the day before, and Ty jumped in. We always imagine the elite to be united, and when in human history has anyone ever been united? There's always going to be, especially at the top, they probably have a lot more conflict, and we get kind of caught in between. So I don't think necessarily there's like a black elite and a white elite that are fighting against each other. I think there's so much narcissism and inroads and fighting amongst themselves that they're going to find any advantageous alignment.
All
for
right.
the short-term gains in that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of important for all of us to kind of be cognizant of, because sometimes we look at this unified front and it's so gigantic and overbearing that we fail to realize that there's probably a lot of that crap going on. Because when in human history do we ever unify enough to have, you know?
Yeah, I don't know of any accounts of of human history having perfect harmony.
Especially when it comes to power, right?
Right.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
have Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones would have been 4 episodes long if that were the case.
Well, so the reality, I guess, is, and I appreciate you, and I agree with everything you just said. Sometimes I speak in race because it's still how the mindset in our country still works. But the reality is, all the wealthy people I know, they don't care anything about it. They could care less about it at all, right? It is a grouping. They're going to work with whoever will help them to make the most money or gain the most power. So, but just as an example, in terms of, government versus bankers, they might be in conflict on certain levels, but the whole concept of our families on top and your families will stay at the bottom are you're in lock sync.
Right. The
So
economic elite.
them having conflict is a great thing, because in moments of conflict, I think that sometimes we can slip through the cracks into a paradigm shift. And, I talked Tom Blue in the face on that, so I want to kind of let y'all talk more, but it's in these moments that we actually can say, no, we think that we don't want to go with your digital currency. We've decided that the digital dollar is a bad idea because the fiat dollar was a bad idea. And we're deciding as a human race, or the national population, if we want to continue this idea of survival of the fittest, survival of the luckiest, survival of the wealthiest, or if we want to go a different model. There are a lot of other solutions in terms of resource-based economies and anarchy and moneyless economies. And some people still like the socialism, the communism, and the free market capitalism. Being an automation guy, I always fall back, and this is where I'm good with the Beaufont, keep it simple. I'm hard on everything else. I need to be pulled back to keep it simple. But when it comes to automation, we already have enough for everybody. We have enough automation to solve all human oppression. We just haven't decided that that's a good idea yet, because we're still divided up into these false categories, like Beaufont was saying, of race and religion and all this. And our mindsets still think in terms of that. And that's how they keep us from saying we're done.
Right. Well, they also, the thing I don't like about digital currency is, the devices that we're forced on. The devices become your god. They become your everyday worry. And I don't like it. So it's that's one of the reasons this cryptocurrency and all the digital talk is really bothering me, because it's really just they're just forcing you into a new cycle of these devices and technology and different things like that. I don't, and then if you don't have, a way to electronically pay somebody for one reason or another, either the internet's down or there's a fire in your freaking whole neighborhood's on fire. You don't, there's no way to you barter goods and services, right? And that's what we do in a true world without money. And so it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, okay, I'm going to have a digital wallet in this phone. And then when my phone's not working, then I have to go to a PC, right? To make transfers or anything like that. It just seems like we're going to be totally dependent on these, even more on these devices. And that's where I draw the line.
I agree with that.
Right. But the problem I have is, as much as I reiterate to people that we don't need currency, right, that we actually can be free, it's hard for people, I think, to process that type of world. I agree with you. From any perspective, from any flavor, as long as someone has power over you, it is a flavor of slavery. And so whether it's a government, a bank, central bankers, Rothschild, Rockefellers, whatever it is, as long as you need that to survive, you are safe to survive.
True indeed, Jay. That's true indeed. But the thing is this, the people have no, I guess it's about measuring things really when it comes to this systematic operation. And honestly, we measure up to the people based on how society has taught us to understand the people. You know what I mean? So it's like we look into the class, lower class, middle class, upper class, the super wealthy class, and we break down all these things in a way that, honestly, internally wires us to become inferior. Because when we look at ourselves as if we're lower class, that's the beginning of, our ability to rise above this, I guess, currency type of domination. You know what I mean? And people value themselves based on the currency or the financial state of operations. So it's like if you have $0 in your pocket, you're worthless right now. You know what I mean? And this is the beginning of our want and desire to be something. You need something to be something. So you need money to be somebody. You need money to do things. But the truth is always been the truth since the beginning of time. We never needed money to do anything. We only needed a commitment and dedication to each other, which we have never had in our existence as we have known it and seen it. I mean, 37 years I've been seeing that we've worked together hand in hand to where we weren't so reliant on government or their operation, because the operational reality is we can take all the things we've accumulated in excess, through the centuries or whatever the case is, and we can start to use those things in a way that creates self-sustainability or community sustainability for, everyone. We can do that now. But the thing is, we don't have a dedication or desire to do that because the system as it's been presented to us shows us that, hey, if you don't go out and make this money, you're not going to be whatever it is that we've taught you might want to be. We've created what you might want to be. We've created the way for you to be that. And if you don't utilize these avenues, these paths, or whatever the systems, you're going to be something like a failure. I guess they want to paint the picture like you're a failure. If you go off the grid and you live on the land, you're a failure. If you go off the grid and land on the land, you're worthless. Even if you live on the grid, but you live self-sustainably, you're kind of like a weirdo to other people. You know what I mean?
Chris, it's funny that I didn't mean to interrupt, but like I got that from The Wire. Like I love The Wire, right? I've seen that show 3 or 4 times, but like the idea of the domestic success, having a relationship, having a house, all this good stuff, and then the fallacies that come into that. Just what you just were talking about is this idea of the way that you're living your life and participating in the system and subscribing to it has been so tied to how we view our adult maturation and success, right? With that, it's funny how we need to kind of unplug that and it's almost like it's amazing to me to think about the apprehension we all have on thinking about what we need to do to be more sustainable, like maybe try to find alternate ways to gather water from our gutters and like those simple steps and how they're painted as so extreme.
You want to get rainwater? You're out your damn mind. Don't you got a hose in the backyard? Turn on it. And it's like you want to get.
By the way, you got to get a building permit to put that rainwater. You got to put that. You got to get the permits. You got to get everything. You can't do that.
I'm using that as an example, right, of kind of what you're touching upon about like there's these subconscious things that we don't even question them sometimes, and we have to kind of point them out and go, why is this a source of anxiety to go even try to go figure out how to do this?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, so the what I love, which once again I'm like a broken record, which I really appreciate you guys coming on and giving your perspectives, is that the only reason money really exists right now is because they took the land, right? And the only reason they won't give the land back is if they give the land back, it means you can be free.
Yeah,
you can get your own food, your own water, you can do whatever you want. And so it's key to talk about the fact that no Americans own any land. They own the land. As long as they own the land, they have you as a slave. You need their money.
So I remember back when I first went to Western, back in like a student of mine that I went to school with. And I use the analogy of someone who just came, they're in their like 19, 20, 21, working at Chili's, going to one of those used car lots and getting a car. Getting a loan for that car. Let's say it's a Fiero, right? It's going to be a $10,000 car. They get a loan for it because the bank doesn't give a crap. They don't. We know this kid, if we're lucky, is going to make payments on this car for about 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to repo that car a year and a half later. Still on the hook for the balance of that $10,000 loan, right? Guess what they're going to do with that car? 2 years after that original loan, they're going to resell it. $7,500, $8,000 loan this time. Guess what? They're still on the hook for that $10,000, right? Over the course of that used car's lifetime, they're going to get $50,000 to $60,000 in loans.
Hell yeah!
Exactly what they're doing to your land.
I've been there. For anybody, let you know, I'll tell people how privileged I am, but I went through college and I had that car. Well, fine, I got that car. I know the car was 300.
The one with the back tires were kind of splayed out like this.
I stepped away from my parents. I'm gonna pay for college. I'm gonna do it myself. I got my own job. And
how are you gonna get girls if you don't have your own pad?
But no, I know how to get away from the repo, man. I've done this and been there and done that. Where you don't park it at home, park it at the grocery store, not the one you shop at, but at a different one. So we played this game, but it's all a scam. And I'm glad you mentioned that because housing fits with that. It's like people who go buy a house and it's like, they don't lie to you. You did buy a house. I bought a house. You did not buy the land. So now you own a house on land that you don't own, and you can't take it with you because the house is attached to the land. So you can pay for the house all you want, but you'll never own the land. And to me, it's illogical to purchase something that's attached to something that you will never own. It's insanity. It's almost like the same scam with the whole Monsanto and seeds, right? Where they own the DNA. It can be your crop on your farm, but if it cross-pollinates, then they own a portion of it through the DNA, and they can make you burn your entire farm up. And it's the same thing with your house. They can take your house and they can burn it down anytime they want to if they need to drive a pipeline through. And I want to kind of tie it back a little bit to modern times because there is no disagreement here from the left and the right. There's no disagreement from any race, religion, or any division groups. They all want to own land. They all want to be empowered. They all want to go back to being sovereign type citizens, but we can't get there because we're so trapped in this mindset, this slave mind that we need to form in groups and cheer for our side of the plantation. How do we get out of that?
Education. Educate the way you teach the youth, I believe, is how we get out of it, because I think a lot of the adults have made their mind up until this point. And you got to think, people don't really change their minds this late in life until they have like some type of event that happens that's so drastic they have to wake up about the reality that's going on all around them. You know what I mean? And so the masses are working with the same program in a divisive way. And it's like, I look at it where it's politically. African Americans, even though they want to claim that they love Democrats when it comes to voting and everything, they're so divided from the Democratic voter base in general. You know what I mean? Fundamentally, like foundationally, they're so divided from all the people in that voter base because the reality, the reality is completely different. And the thing is, they try to make it, they want to paint the TV and all the glitz and glamours all around us, paint the picture that you're having a shared reality. So you need to do everything you can as Americans, because as Americans, you need to stick together and band together for the greater good of America. And they keep reiterating the same dysfunctional narrative because people believed in it. So now it's like this. African Americans are divided from white liberals, and white liberals are divided from white leftists, and black leftists are divided from black liberals, and all this other dysfunction. So it's like everybody's divided based on the politically, systematically operational reality inside the United States of America. But foundationally, all the things that we have in common, all the abilities that we share, all the I guess you could say truths since day one that are still present, we don't share enough time, involved in that, and we don't share enough time basically committed to one another with these truths. So it's like this, we know the land should be free. This is just some shit that's natural. Damn well you shouldn't be paying for this expensive ass house on this land because somebody else made it and they threw a crazy value on it based on the crazy value they threw on the product. So it's all about value, who created the value when it comes to the numbers. And you just go along with it. But damn well you shouldn't be paying this much for the shit. Damn well everybody else should be paying that much for the shit. But the thing is, you're getting, I guess you would say, assimilated into something that goes against your internal awareness. You know what I mean? So like the systematic awareness says, listen, this is the way it is. Damn well you're going to have to do what you got to do to get this house if you desire that house. So you're going to go get the loan. It's going to be $100K, might be $200K. You're going to put that in. Hopefully your credit right. You know what I mean? Because if your credit right, you played into the game. So your credit might be good because you did all those things that you need to do to keep your credit good, and your financial standing is great. So you have the ability to get a better loan. But if your financial standing is bad, don't go get that car. You understand? Don't go buy a used car. You're going to be looking at 10, 15% maybe. You feel me, on them interest, and you better make them payments. But breaking it down, we all know this shit ain't right. It ain't no damn way we still gonna let our children get submerged in this systematic dysfunctionality and we all know that we fed up with this thing. It ain't no just black or white thing. Everybody fed up with this shit. What the hell is the PPA or this? What the hell is this parking authority doing, ticketing me on free land? You know what I mean? It's simple shit like that. No damn well this PPA shouldn't be running down taxing you on, and it's a privatized company, ain't got shit to do with the city you living in. You know what I mean? I live in Philadelphia. They got privatized coming from Maryland, coming down taxing people in Philadelphia, and they talking about, oh shit, we're going to take your car, tow it, and pound it. They're going to make $150 off you. We're going to make it sit in the lot for $75. This stuff is all around dysfunctional, chaotic.
So you need to go register to vote and fix it, right?
You going to register to vote for a politician. The politician going to come and save the day. Joe Biden going to come and save the day. Donald Trump, the billionaire, going to come and save you, the thousandaire. He's standing with you. Joe Biden, the crook.
Voting basically just lets them know that, hey, you're not willing to do it yourself. You want someone to do it for you.
That's where we have to start realizing our potential. Like, this is what it is. They took us away from realizing our potential. They told us our systematic potential. They said, look, systematically, you have the potential to be everything that these people were before you. Everything that we did. And that's the measure that we use. We say, oh, look, this president was great, so I want to be a politician like that scumbag, even though I don't know who he really is, but he was great like that. The book said he was great. The education system said he was great. Oh, this businessman. Oh, this great guy here, this great guy there, all these great guys that they told you could be. You ain't realize that you was already great. We're already great in our from.
So I want to back up real quick because Johann Klaus, my friend from Yuma, made a good point. At some point, we need to kind of start steering the conversation back to what we can do, right, in our day-to-day. In our day-to-day, right? Because we can allow this conversation and we can get mired on this for the next couple of years. But you touched upon something, Chris, that I'm trying to, I had it and then I lost it, so I might not get it back. But what were you discussing right before I interjected? Because there was something that triggered me. Do you remember?
I was saying more or less how like everything, the financial scheme is played into the way that people have, done their day-to-day business and shit. You know what I mean? And basically it goes against everything that they internally believe, and the politicians play on that, and all the education system plays on that. You know what I mean? And basically I was saying that we pay into our dysfunction. You know what I mean? We pay into our dysfunction with all the different ways that's we apply the operational reality of how we live life. You know what I mean?
And that's what got my mind pinged up on that comment. It's funny as I've kind of reframed fascism from a standpoint of like a belief system. Mm-hmm. And you touched upon it, how we have to abandon our own ability to render our own beliefs from our own personal experiences, our own personal ability to understand. And this goes on all fronts. And the challenge has come into play, and we've been conditioned for thousands of years That's the heretical part of it, is when someone does not subscribe to a belief system that they are plagiarizing as their own personal evolution, their own personal experience, their own personal capacity to kind of understand something. And part of that has to come to play and Gerard was talking about this a couple of days ago. We have to get to a point where we have to admit what we don't know.
Yeah.
You have to get, as an engineer or engineer-minded or a little bit disciplined, it's not what you know, it's what you're willing to figure out. And if you're so busy trying to because this doctor said this organization said this, it's kind of like, this is the available information I have that's coming from this source and this is how I'm using it. If you don't have those abilities to do that honestly and kind of show, it's funny because if people have this mentality that if they're not 110% correct and factual in what they're talking about, with things that they don't have the ability to go isolate RNA, as an example, right? No one in this group knows how to do that.
Right.
We don't have the capital, the means, and technology to go do that, so we're relying on this, and they use that, right? But at that same time, we have to be mindful of admitting our blind spots. Because how are that you're not going to be able to learn anything if we're so busy trying to talk with a louder voice of the sense of authority.
Okay.
Hi, Christine.
Got some flavor, hey, Miss Christine.
So that was the kind of I think we need to be mindful of that and try to go. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about what you know. It's about how honest you are. And that's part of that sociopathy from the very beginning. Is we have to overcome that first, and is getting critical to do that for our own evolution and our continued survival.
Right. I hear everything double.
What double? Like audio?
She's double on audio. Yeah, she's
everything double and all talking to.
You need to turn off your mute either on Facebook or your BeLive web screen because you're getting audio from both of those sides.
Oh, right. She might be on Facebook too. You got to turn Facebook off.
Oh wait, yes.
The mute button on the volume on Facebook if you want to see the comments.
Okay.
So your comment, Chris, kind of turned that chapter a little bit for me, and kind of re-hitting home and making people conscious and kind of going, hey, is this your belief? Because I think we're interested in what you personally, anybody on this forum believes,
right,
and not what they're plagiarizing.
Yeah,
differentiate between the two.
And then everybody's working with the different types of already formulated beliefs and whatever the case may have,
Right.
Yeah. Maybe we need to start a school of how we teach people. Yeah, we teach them how to forget about the past and
we don't teach them how to learn, right?
We need many schools. Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean?
It is a school. This absolutely is a school. And this is why I say I don't have followers, because I learn from these people all the time. It is a school.
That's what we had to use it as, though. That's what I tell people.
We need again to brainwash our brains, but really washing in the good way from what's in. It's decoding all the conditions, all the beliefs. Yeah, we have to get rid of it and start all again.
How do you think we start over as far as like on an international scale? What do you think may be the best way to do that, like as far as right now where we stand?
I would think we should start at the basics. For me, just what I think it's important now for the young generation is to survive, is gardening, is carpeting, actually the very basic things, so people feel back their own power to do something, so they can maintain their life as they want to, as our generations did 200 years ago.
That's
because
true.
Now, and also I think you can, like Gerard most of the time does, he brings technology in, and I think it's very good. But before that, we have to have that kind of feeling that we are able to self-sustain. That's from, I mean,
Well,
because
not
now even I see many times children that totally dependent, more dependent than we. Like I'm 61, and I mean we can put you could put me on a house with the basic things, I can survive, but I don't see that with the young children.
Right, right, right.
And that's why they are also dependent on the system even more than, yeah, we also, but
Yeah.
even more.
And that's what
But
system wants. They need dependency, you know, because that's where they profit and capitalize off the people. Because you're weaker when you're dependent. You're weaker. You know what I mean? And we see that with our like just relationships. You know what I'm saying? If you're dependent on somebody for something, you're
yes,
kind of a servant to them. If you know they want something, you're kind of that. I don't know how to put it. I don't want to put it in the gutterest of gutter and ways, but you know how to do, y'all. Have to go to the gutters with it, okay? But if it's like in the streets, you know, if you're a prostitute, you kind of servant to this crazy man that's like, you know, the pimps or whatever the case is. He has control over you because you're dependent upon him. You feel as though you're dependent upon him. That's what it is. You're not really, truly, you're not dependent upon this person, but you feel as though because you've been
yes,
raised up and trained to be. You know what I mean? You've been programmed your life to be this way, and the strength inside of you cannot be channeled in a way that you can free yourself from that reality or that environment, you know. But that's how it is for our children. They're raised up and trained to be dependent, even by the parents. You know, the parents have a lot of effect in making their children dependent upon them when they shouldn't be. I had to find myself doing this now. It's like, wait, no, you have to do a lot of these things on your own. You know what I mean? If you have to act as if I'm not around. You know, that's why I teach my son, act like I'm not here, because
yeah, true.
you have to build that independence now in your youth, and you have to raise that up. You know, that's why I believe you have to raise it up in somebody.
Yeah, actually, you have to. Actually, the old traditional ancient education, very old, like in India. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm always referring to India because my yeah, my passion goes to India. But then, yeah, they used to raise the children not with the parents because they didn't want to become a copy of the parents, but they sent their children to a guru, like one who was really self-actualized, who reached very high, yes, a high level of vibrations of enlightenment. So, and he taught the children to become themselves. So they were never dependent on anything, only on their own power inside, which you can call, yeah, your divine power or your intuition, or but also by practicing and doing what you're actually your call. Like I found yesterday in Jonathan's Justice and Injustice, it was amazing how Socrates saw how actually society would be, and that's how I see Gerard always talking about it too. And he says we have to rely on our own calling inside, but we didn't learn that. And some old African traditions, they do that too, but they all mesmerize. So actually, we need to get
a little frozen.
unpower the powers in who are acting. I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, my opinion, yeah, that's how I see things. But how you start to do it, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
say
homeschooling is a good thing. It's
I,
basic.
I only have one idea, and that would be to hire the Quakers and the what are the Quakers and what's that in Iowa, in Amana, Iowa. All the Quakers, they're called Quakers, but there's another.
Amish.
Yeah, the Amish. So maybe
Yeah.
we all need to hire the Amish to train the United States people to get off the grid.
Yeah.
It's interesting to look at history, I think, in that respect, Joe, and look at what happened to the Native Americans. And because, I mean, that's our biggest, most recent and large scale war against any alternative against the state. I mean, when you're talking the economic warfare that was going on, when they killed millions of bison as a way to force Native Americans on to participate on the grid, right? To participate on the system, because that was the Native Americans' greatest asset, was that they could sustain themselves without participating in this BS.
Right.
And that actually was another step taken in the 1920s with the property tax that I learned from watching Damnation. You had these agricultural communities, the farmers market is originating that didn't need money. They were self-sustaining. They were trading with each other in their own. And there was, I mean, back then, agriculture was a huge engineering effort, right? And all of a sudden, we're going to put property tax on them, and guess what? Property tax forces them to participate in the system. Without it, we're going to take their land. So I think we need to kind of maybe take a moment and when we talk about what's important to do next, see where the pitfalls were 200 years ago, 300 years ago, and how that was used against us. Because I think Christine is correct. In my mind, we need to start at least start going, okay, how do I get water when the grid goes down? How do I get some food when the grid goes down? And maybe not start working towards sustaining ourselves when the grid collapses, because it will, even without them doing that to us, it's going to. Mm-hmm. But start at least making incremental steps to go, okay, how can we have one foot in the grid and minimize our impact onto it and be more of a node to the grid, while when the grid is down, we can at least eat, take hot baths, get clean water, realize what the basic necessities are and where we get those from. Because I always love it when the gun nuts are all like, I got my gun, I got my ammo. And I'm like, do you know how to machine a rifle barrel in 2 years? Do you know how to injection mold a new cowl and trigger mechanism that you're going to need to do in 2 years? Can you pull saltpeter from the earth and make munitions? No. Well, guess why? Because you're not on the supply chain. You're already disarmed. Right. You don't even know it. Because how did they disarm them in World War II in Nazi Germany? How did they do it in Cambodia? How did they do it in Russia? They starved those communities. Mm-hmm. They turned off the water.
Yep.
Are we pacifists? Is that what we are?
That's interesting, because I have a firm belief, and this is just my personal meditative perspective. I don't think you can revolt against the system without becoming the system. You can't lend justice to Jeffrey Dahmer and the Hitlers of the world without becoming those characters in like. So I think what you end up doing in that revolt is you end up perpetuating the system itself. In a lot of ways, you're validating it in that. So I wouldn't say it's maybe pacifist, and with the inflection maybe you were coming with, Joe. I think it's kind of like we're not playing. One of my meditation teachers, when I first met him, we had this conversation in our reading. And he was talking about the analogy, just because someone knocks the ball in your direction, in this case, usually we identify it as drama, doesn't necessarily mean you have to knock it back across the court. In fact, you don't even have to stay on the court. And that's more of what I'm talking about, right? It's more of that thinking.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think from my standpoint, I'm working towards that. I'm looking at all the different angles. As I always say, I think we're living in a lot of the good information is hidden from us. It's just like Facebook can work like a charm, but they make it so it doesn't. And everything is this is what they do in order to keep us scratching for more from them, begging at their feet. I want more. I know you can do this better, and give me more. So there's just a lot of that going on in society. And when you go back to in history and way back, and we talked about how information's been sequestered and convoluted over the years all the time and recycled and then retold. This is one of the biggest problems that we have is knowledge being convoluted, confused on purpose. And it's a big fight that we're having out there. The Great Awakening is great, but there's still a lot of information that's still, as we're experiencing, sitting here talking about how do we get off this monster that is trying to devour us. How do we get off this thing? This is the biggest, toughest question. So
I agree.
But when I look at the first thing that came to mind is who's off of it already.
you're not. Well, if they're off of it, you're not going to hear from them.
Well, I mean, like I brought up, I mean, we have the Amish are definitely halfway or more off. They do use some of the technologies,
Yeah, they do use, yeah. Because
but
they're trading with us and then they need the devices. Because when I was living in the USA, I was living between the Amish, but I mean, we were not Amish, but we trade a lot with them because they build buildings for us, schools and things like that, and they do it very well and very thoroughly. And but they say, "Oh, you use mobile phones." Yeah, yeah. Well, how else can we trade? We have common sense. We need money too, in this system. Actually, they were very ground to really
right,
grounded and common sense, and really like, okay, we need to use it because we need also to live in this system. But they do it, minimalize it, most of them,
yeah,
as less as possible. And I'm not against devices and against like what is created, because it's a great way to communicate, and that's how we whole the world knows now. Okay, this sucks. This systems everywhere. So I think everywhere in the world people are awaking, and I think that's the great transformation. But it's like you said, how do we get rid of these devils, of these demons? Like, how do you do it? Because they destroy. They use everything to destroy if they can. That's the
right.
question.
Let's give Hogo a chance to introduce himself. Everybody knows Jonathan Hogo, your inmate, prisoner, goes to prison for the whole human race. You want to introduce yourself, brother? Because I know you got to run. I know you got an interview later today. We can't hear you. Can you guys hear?
No, I can't hear you.
I think you might have to speak a little closer into your mic, John.
He might be muted, have his mute button.
Yeah, that's exactly what
There
it
you
was.
go.
There you go.
Sir Hogrelius. No, far from a professor, just concerned about what's going on in the world and engaging with people like you to try to figure it all out and go in the right direction for humanity. I'm testing this out for the first time because I'm looking for an application actually to use to do live streams like this with other people. I actually, first of all and foremost, hello everyone. I've been listening a little bit, but I've been multitasking, so my concentration on what everyone's been discussing hasn't been too focused. But I just wanted to hop on, say hello, test this out, support every and each and one of you for what you're doing, engaging in speaking the truth and being honest and open and helping people through this process. I'm about to do an interview with somebody for the first time. It's not going to be on live, but it is going to be on Zoom, and I'm going to I'll register, record it, and then I'm going to diffuse it. So it's going to be seen by a lot of people. And I have a little notebook of about a bunch of things that I want to ask about. And this person I'm going to be speaking with is a freedom thinker, someone very, very similar to us that thinks openly, thinks critically, questions everything, and does the footwork to find out for themselves what's really going on in this world. And so I thought I'd take the opportunity to break the ice on a personal level, to be comfortable in front of a camera, and also to maybe, if I had a couple minutes, to point out some of the things that I'm going to be asking about and what I'm going to be talking about, so that I could kind of go through it a little bit and see what you guys think. That was the whole idea of coming on and sharing with you guys at the moment. Not disrespecting the subject or the theme of what you were talking about before.
I think this is a conversation, so I don't think there's any disrespect to be had. I think it just kind of Gerard allows it to evolve in the direction it kind of takes it.
Cool. So we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Anyhow, if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and just jump right into some heavy topics, questions, and points that I want to ask this person and discuss. I'm looking at developing this interview for about an hour, hour and a half, and we could go on for hours like we all can. So, anyhow, here in France, Macron just last night said that there's going to be a curfew from 9 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. Sure.
Oh,
And I
boy.
think all of us
Yeah.
are
Familiar
sufficiently
with it.
competent to understand what that might mean. So I don't really have to explain what that means, but it's pretty gnarly. Anyhow, so obviously at the base of what we're going through right now, it's all revolved around this kind of medical dictatorship, given a grotesque amount of misinformation and propaganda that we've all submitted to in one way, shape, or form. And it's a global thing. So I really want to talk about coronavirus, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, and what that actually is. I want to actually ask about isolating a virus using maybe Koch's postulate or some kind of scientific method that has been widely accepted by the world. I wanted to talk about the PCR test, or specifically the RT-PCR test, and why is that the only test that we're using? Why not the saliva? Why not the blood? Another topic I want to see, because I saw this way back early in February and in March, the numbers in propaganda, and how that came into really focalizing everything around the fear-based propaganda, and how that has affected popular public opinion, and the power of popular public opinion. I think we are all human, and we're all touched and influenced by our peers in our society, and that has effect on us psychologically.
Hey, Jonathan, can I interject real quick?
Go for it.
So this kind of reverts back to when I jumped on with Gerard and talking about how we allow things to distract us from the simple nuances. And I think those topics are very important, but I also would be careful on how those topics are handled, because I think in truth, this could be Ebola. It doesn't matter how effective or how safe the vaccines are, or the treatment, and or the testing. The fact of the matter is you can't assault me with a needle.
Yeah.
Regardless of how safe, how effective, there's no level of threat, there's no level of safety that gives you the right to come assault me with a needle and infringe on my property.
Yeah, liberty.
So,
It's
yeah,
I think it's against the basic laws. Like I think in Europe, it's more Magna Carta. Actually, they are not allowed to do it. And I think a lot of lawyers in Belgium, for sure, and they work together with people from Holland, from UK, to really make a big, to sue actually the governments who are allowing to do it. I don't know if it will work out, but there are a lot of people who are, I mean, nobody wants, even people who are for vaccines, they feel like this is going too far. So actually, they implode, I do say, their power is getting lesser because people are against it. And on Delbic Tree, you find a lot of information. I mean, they are the best. I mean, there's so many speakers there. If you follow this evening, Delbic Tree, you have really the best information from all over the world. But how are you going? Then again, it's the same question. Like the podcasting. How do we go against these powers?
Yeah, that's always
They
the
will
question.
implement it. They want to implement it. Anyhow.
I
Well,
think we're all aware of what we're up against, and obviously it's about structurizing and organizing resistance to this powers that be, for lack of a better word. If it's okay, can I just go ahead and continue through my list?
yeah. That was a quick interjection. I didn't mean to derail you.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No,
Sorry
not
for
at all.
interrupting.
Not at all. I'm just really super pressed for time. I'm supposed to be doing a debriefing with the person I'm interviewing, but I'm doing it with you guys instead. So
nice.
let me run with it, and then I'll let you guys go. I love you all. I feel kind of selfish for jumping on here and having
It's
my little
constructive.
program, but it's a test run, so let's run with it. I'm going to talk about the WHO, the World Economic Forum, the CDC, the Rockefeller Foundations, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations, what his thoughts are on those. I already know what his thoughts are, but to elaborate, obviously we're going to talk about Agenda 21, 2030 in some way, shape, or form. Event 21, avec that simulation that happened in October last year. Afterwards, it could go on and on and on. I want to talk about Dr. Pastor, or not Dr. Pastor, but Professor Pastor, questioning that. I wrote down vaccines, toxicity, but I mean, it's a huge point. I just don't know what to say about it. Medical industry, classical education, all the doctors that are complicit or collaborating in the medical industry at the moment. Obviously, big pharma with their lobbying power and how they have an impact on our society more than we can even imagine. I mean, jumps right in and ties right into the vaccine industry. Afterwards, it's obvious the new world order is happening. That's just point blank. That's what's
Yes.
happening. And afterwards, I'm going to be speaking with someone that has an education in doctorate of osteopathy from Berkeley. He's a world human that has a lot of experience, a free thinker, and there's a number of other questions I could ask, but just that as the meat of the conversation. What do you guys think?
I think it's good. As I said, I mean, just be careful. I always get concerned. I mean, everyone is hitting on those same points, but I think sometimes the validity of those can kind of be a distraction from the point I just made. And
Which
kind
was
of
what?
go, okay, just kind of like, okay, well, if we can quantify like vaccines aren't safe as a justification for why we shouldn't have forced vaccines when it doesn't really matter how safe they are, right? It doesn't really matter how legitimate this threat might be. You still don't have the right to do that.
Yeah.
Well, they've written laws, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but they have written laws under our behind closed doors in the United States of America, and you can go to the White House website and you can look through the documents that are out there. These are executive orders. These are ordinances, and that they write underneath these the United States law grid under, and they write things in to protect the people. You know, it's all for your own good. But they say they have the right to do this. They say they have the right to inject you with a vaccine. It's right in the United States documents.
Yeah, and in the States, that's where the U.S. citizens are stuck.
Well, they did it just to this is the globalist grid, the New World Order that has been working for years and years, and they do this kind of thing, and it's all for your own good. Everything they do is for your own good, just so you know, and that's the way they think about it. So they think they're doing you a favor.
Yeah, but it's also in Europe, Jonathan. It's also in Europe. It's not only in the US. We have a new premier, and he says that he's going with mandatory vaccines, and he's going, and with probably the lockdown. There will be a lockdown. Yeah, I don't know when, but I'm quite sure they will do it.
They're talking October 28th, 29th.
Yeah.
That's the buzz.
I mean, people are going to be upset because we're all we're on edge already. In a lot of ways,
Yes.
And now we're going in. We know there's going to be this second wave that they've been talking about, and here it comes.
So I think, Jonathan, one of the things that might be interesting is to start kind of exploring, in your current situation, especially in France, what can be done at the moment? Like, what's meaningful in trying to kind of ideate those steps through in that conversation?
Well, I think that we're fighting the same battle, but in the French version, meaning that we are a socialist republic. We have a different constitution. And so we have to kind of, if we want to do it legally, work within those confines. So that means we need competent constitutional lawyers. And at the end of the day, it's just like anything. It's destitution of the government and restarting. We're way too far into the system to try to fix this. There's nothing to fix
Yes.
anymore.
I agree.
Can I interrupt? But you had the yellow vest, so I was a little bit lost because you don't hear them anymore. But they should know all these things. I mean, they were quite aware of all the power grab.
I'll tell you that most of the Gilets jaunes are awake. And I say that in a
Yes.
general term, meaning they're conscious. They know what's going on, and they have the courage and the determination and willing to sacrifice their small needs to fight for the common good of everyone. And I think for the most part, I was attracted to that movement because of the people who were willing to do something about it. And this was starting in 2018, and actually a lot way back before that. But it just kind of mobilized at that point when Macron wanted to tax the gases, increase the gas prices, and they formulated a movement, and then it caught fire. And then with the repression and the police violence and the unjust liberticide, the killing of our rights. It's just kind of been going really, really quickly. And there is still a resistance. The Gilets jaunes are still there.
Okay.
One of the things to think about also is that they don't necessarily need to come with guns a-blazing to enforce this. This is becoming an economic, they're using economic means to constrain us. Like you might not be able to have a job without, a vaccine clearance or get a driver's license or be able to get a lease for rent.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You're right. And that it's all coming through the corporations and businesses are, the same old stuff. The collusion is going on like warp speed, and the human resources are writing all the new principles and bylaws of their companies that are going to require certain things that have to do with this new world order fake pandemic thing.
And I would like to chime in that I would love to do this again when I'm more structured and have a little bit more free time. I'm going to have to cut off here because I have my meeting at 6 o'clock my time. And I need to rewrite my questions. So,
okay.
You will do great.
You do great, yes.
I can't wait to do this again. I'm breaking through the shyness of being on camera, but it is so important that we, the collective conscience, actually discuss amongst ourselves and actually structure and organize real-time solutions to move forward. So I just want to say I love you all. I appreciate you all, and I will see you soon.
It's great. It's great seeing you, Jonathan.
Great.
Okay. Peace.
Good luck at the interview.
Good luck.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Now that I broke the ice with you guys, it's all good.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna cut out.
Okay.
This is like Hollywood Squares, but not.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about digital currencies and how to get off this grid, and I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to continue with, and if
somebody else wants to join. Mm-hmm.
Gerard, are you coming back, or did he?
He's on the toilet.
He's on the toilet again. He's always on the toilet. I gotta stop giving him those jalapeno peppers from my garden.
Which is code that he probably got pulled away by a coworker.
Oh yeah, he's at work. He's supposed to be working, and he's streaming in some office, back room.
Multitasking with your host Gerard.
Oh man. So where's everybody at? Belafonte? Is that how you say your name?
Bouffant Savant. I live in California right now, but I'm originally from Texas.
Okay.
I lived overseas as a kid, so
okay,
it was easy to leave.
And I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, is where I'm from. And where are you from?
I'm from Belgium.
Belgium,
yes.
Nice.
From countryside.
Oh, I love it. Never been there, but I've been to Europe, a few places, Poland, Switzerland, and Germany. But that's it over there in that area for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and every country is very different. It's very nice to visit if you can Europe.
Oh yeah.
And Belgium is very, very small. 2 hours from the east to the west, and 2 hours from north to south, and then you're out of Belgium.
Yeah.
If you don't have traffic jam.
Oh, is it the traffic is heavy there, huh?
Oh yeah, it's very heavy.
They have a lot of American cars there, or the
No, small
Belgium
cars, small
cars?
cars. Yeah.
Huh?
Small cars, really.
Small
No,
cars.
we don't have the big cars. When you come in America, everybody has a big car. No,
Are they
most-
bigger than Mr. Bean? Mr. Bean, you know Mr. Bean? Are they bigger than Mr. Bean car? The car Mr. Bean drives around?
Oh yeah. We had those cars. We had them. So that's a good thing.
So when I lived in Europe, especially Greece, everything was Fiat and Peugeot. That was all. There was no
Yeah,
Ford.
Peugeot. Yeah, Japanese.
Japanese was
actually
good.
Japanese. Yeah, we do have Japanese. German cars. I don't know so much about brands, but not so much American brands. We don't have them so much that I know.
Okay.
So most of
Okay.
them come from Japan, Germany. Yeah.
Well, Trump's not doing a very good job of exporting cars out there.
Yeah.
then.
No.
Oh my God. Well, I don't have anything more. I really appreciated this, and I'm probably going to get started with my day, and hopefully I'll come back on and meet you all again. And but I do think there's something to what I brought up. You know, I kind of
Yes.
pat myself on the back on this because I really am going to study the Amish and stuff here coming up. I just feel like. Maybe they offer classes for young people to how to sustain themselves and how to grow food, and
They should do it. Yeah, maybe maybe it's now their time to come out and go in society more.
to really help people, especially the young people, like you said, because most of the adults are not very smart either, especially here. I can't say dumb here, otherwise they call it hate speech here now. So, but anyway, it was nice meeting you guys. So I'm gonna get off here. Hopefully Gerard will come back on and everything. So take care, y'all.
Hey Joe, it was nice to meet you.
Yeah, and anytime any of you want to come on the Media Nomad Show, you just look up InfoWind New News. Yeah. InfoWind New News. Yeah, follow the InfoWind New News, the Facebook InfoWind New News, and then please, I need your help, and I'm doing Gerard and I are kind of on the same path, putting stuff out all the time, and trying to gather new followers and new participants is more important. So,
have either of y'all watched Kiss the Ground on Netflix?
No,
it's a documentary. Well, I mean, has a liberal slant to it, and it's on Netflix, so you have to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. But it's a great topic on topsoil and its impact on our sustainability.
Yeah,
and agriculture. It just touches upon some issues we need to be cognizant of if we're trying to get more self-sustainable in ourselves.
In Russia, 60% of the people in the households and the communities have community gardens.
Yes.
And we need to work towards that. I think that's another part of our culture here in America, is that the family unit has always been a contrived ideology. I mean, look at the Wild West. It wasn't really conducive for raising kids, right? I think that's where you get such the religious, fever for the family unit, because it had to be kind of forged out of nothing in a sense. But we kind of have that same thing with each other. We're not a very social group in the world, and we've been taught to be self-sufficient and self-reliant to the point of we don't work together very well. Or I think that's
true. I like that what you said, because isn't that what we've heard? Take care of yourself. Independence, freedom. Don't be able to, you want to be so successful you don't need to depend on anybody else and all this stuff. So you're right. That has been and they put it in so many different packages, sold.
And the East is then the opposite, because China and the East country are so much used to be dependent, so they are not taught to be independent. So you have to find a balance between those two. Like we have to work with each other in the community, but being able to independent also, like there has to be a balance. Because if I go to India, though, I mean, my guru said the Western women are more independent, so that's a good thing. But they're too independent, and the Indian women, they're too dependent. So and we need a balance between those two. Like West and East needs to unite.
Yeah, it's funny how every culture has its has its thing, so you have the India, but you have different parts that are different ways. Same with South America. They don't all speak the same language down there, and they all have cultural differences. So that's really interesting. But yeah, I agree with you. I think and I don't know much about India. It sounds like you know a lot about India, but that's whew, man, that's definitely those, we're not in America. We don't understand China. We don't understand what kind of stuff they're going through there with all these people in one little
Yes.
place. Oh my gosh.
It's interesting to look at like Brahmanism and the beginnings of Buddhism.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a lot of that meditative evolution that was really talking about the same things we're talking about today.
Yeah.
We're talking about how do you kind of save your personal sovereignty in the face of such a overwhelming conglomerate of what I call incorporated sovereignty with culture. And that was 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So
It's always the thing you have to be centered. Like I say, you have to feel your inner calling, I would say, and you have to work together with the community. But we all get trapped in the culture, and we get our conditions. We cannot think out that pattern of the culture, and that's we identify. I mean, identification is actually always the trap, I think, when we get too much identified with one culture or another culture. And so everything gets rigid after a while. So everything needs to be flowing, actually, if you go to the meditation part. But life is never the same, it's always changing. And we as humans have a lot of problems with changing, because we are so much set up in structures and in a way of thinking, so that only a few genius that think outside the box, which actually everybody should be able to do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's and then the society is blooming, and it's exciting, and it's inventive, and
Christine, how did you get involved with Gerard, and what do you do out there, and what do you do in Belgium, and are you heavy into political movements and political things, or are you just curious about, kind of like a lot of us are curious about how the world, is, and how it, is that what got you, going?
actually, I was in America. I was 5 years in America before I came back to Belgium, and then it was 2016 with all those elections. And in Belgium, we hardly. I mean, we are not interested in the election. Okay, this party, that's all. But I was in America, and I got drawn into the election. It was like the drama of right and the left and the right. And then I discovered, because I was actually not interested, but you get sucked into it, because I thought, I was not really political interested at all. I had my vision and my lifestyle, and I think, okay, like a healthy way of life and self-sustainable in with meditation and in peace, more very simple. But then you get drawn into this election, and then I met Debbie Lussingen, because she came on my Facebook, and I think, oh, and then I heard the talk of her, and then she was like, making my world open, like, wow, what is this all about? And then through her I met Claudia, and then Gerard, and then I got into it, and I was like, and it became a passion, more like, wow, this is so interesting. And I would try to, because I'm in the world of the yoga, like we do Saja yoga. That's you can Google it down. But those people, they meditate, and a lot of them, they don't want to interact with the world. They say through meditation we can change the world too, which is a part of way through. But my guru says you have to be in the world and from the world, not like they used to be the ancient sage. They went meditating in the Himalayas. That was in the old days, but now we have to do it in the world, and we have to be aware what is happening. And what I believe, if you really meditate well, you see through the lies. The veils get lifted, because you feel something is not wrong. But if you protect yourself in a bubble, like, okay, I'm here nice meditating, my world is good, I'm happy. No, we're not. I mean, we're meant to change the world. We come here to help changing the world. And if we, otherwise it's selfish. I mean, it's nice. I mean, and uh, and here I live in a community, I like with a few yogis. Some I will talk to them, and some are getting more aware now, and some say, "Yeah, but don't want to bother too much." I mean, everybody has their own choice, but we have a big garden, and actually we try now because with the lockdown, we got to know all the local farmers, the local dairy, the local, and a lot of local things, even the
So
local people.
you're locked down right now, Christine?
No, not now, not
Okay,
anymore. But because of the lockdown, we get to know so many people who work. Okay,
gotcha.
he can fix the woodwork here in the house because it's very old house. It always needs maintenance. Oh, and there, so in local community, we find all those people with skills, and that is actually the vision that also they have here. Like, okay, we have to work local. We have the local vegetables, the local herbs. We have a nice tea we made of it. So we want to share those local things, like a local community as basic, and they do it then together and with meditation. So that's what they do in the house here, and I think it's a good thing too.
Oh,
But they're not
that
so
sounds
much.
interesting. I would love
Yeah,
to see, like, it'd be cool if you could get to a point where you're carrying around a live camera
yeah,
and you're streaming it.
yeah, in the garden. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
that
could
would
do.
be
Yeah, maybe
awesome.
once I will show it. But then I did there are the two other persons who do the main work in the garden, but they're not here now. And actually, we need more people to work in the garden because it's such a big garden.
Yeah.
But also, we live in we need to export because we have really too much. But and we get, yeah, like getting knowing each other now was the advantage of the lockdown.
Hmm.
So
Do
that's
you
it.
have a left and a right government there like we do now, or is it more?
Oh, we have 11 parties, 11,
Oh
11
my.
parties, and they're going from extreme right to extreme left, but
Okay.
between men,
Okay.
that's
So
it.
it's just a hodgepodge of different things, but they're basically acting the same.
Yeah, they're actually acting the same, and because they're also lobbying, and it's just the same. And
Okay.
yeah, but I think Bill Gates bribed, I don't know which minister again, for 23 million. I mean, yeah, of course, everybody gets to know everything with social networks. So, and he bribed actually when there was now a clock set like in Antwerp. I used to live in Antwerp, not anymore. Oh, at 8 o'clock we have to stay inside. And that's the Tropical Institute in Antwerp, medical institution. They got bribed for like how many millions I don't anymore. And from that day they got money from Bill Gates. Then next week the lockdown start. I mean the clock set started. So it's so linked easily to
Yeah.
yeah, to the pharmaceutica also.
Yeah. Amen. I know. Gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I wanted to
But
interject on something you were touching upon earlier, Christine, and you were
yeah,
talking about like kind of our resistance to change. And in my mind, from my meditative practice, that's exactly what is described by desire. It's not just this passionate like need for something. It's actually this innate need that we tend to have to kind of get the boat of the world to stop rocking for a minute. And that need
mm,
for a static, non-changing, something we can hold and control for just a little bit. Part of it is from a meditative experience, how I've kind of experienced that the issue with desire is that need for security.
yeah, but that's an innate need by every human being, I think. We don't want, I mean, yeah, there is a kind of, should be a balance between, the challenge to explore life and then the need to be safe. But, how can I say it better?
Well, I
It's,
think I think for the government and just what we've been talking about, how we've been stuck in this system, these systems for so long, we don't know how to think outside. We don't
yeah,
understand it until we're thrown out back into times of, let's just say, Indian tribe type stuff, where you're dependent on the land, you're dependent on planting, like you said, your gardens and all that. It's difficult to explain.
yeah.
Uh, how we feel today as compared to how we might have felt 100 years ago walking the earth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what I also admire is, I know I read a book about, it's about nor wolf nor dog, and it's a book about old Native American Indian who wrote about his experience with white society, and I thought, okay, we know a little bit from Native American, but the way they think, it's phenomenal, like amazing. I thought, okay, I understand a bit of them, but then I found out I don't understand anything of them, and I feel that. And it's a book I would really advise to read. It's also a movie, and it's Ken Nedburn. It's the book Nor Dog Nor Wolf. So because like they always get the scolding, like you're savages, something like that, all in the. And he was 96 year. That man, he married with a Belgian woman, because during, it was very interesting, the life story, because I was in America and I visited them, and that was during the Wild West shows in the 50s, before I was born. Actually, I was born in 59. They came to Europe with Bill the Kid or something, and they did Wild West shows to survive, just for the show, for actually kind of a sarcastic way of thinking. I mean, seeing the Indian Native American life and the cowboy life, like for the Europeans. But then the company couldn't pay the people back to go back to America, and they paid the cowboys to go back to America, but the natives, they didn't pay, so they got stuck in Belgium. And then Belgium families came together and just gathered money for them, so they could go back to their country. And meanwhile, some Native Americans fell in love with a Belgian woman, and so they got mixed. And that one, yeah, he went back with his Belgian wife to Dakota. He was from Dakota, South Dakota. And he had a really amazing life. And it's David Bald Eagle.
that's
David Bald Eagle. So that's, yeah.
cool.
So, okay. And I think, yeah, I talked a lot also, actually, maybe. So,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all wrong with that. Appreciate everybody who was joining. Both just had to duck out. No, I enjoy this. I really enjoy when I can sit back and listen to what, where you guys are and what you're thinking. So no, there's no talking too much. I think the hardest problem when you do the panels is someone says something and you get excited and you want to comment or extrapolate on it, but then you lose that thought, in the conversation. So what I've noticed is the few times I get a chance to do this, I always have a pen with me. I'm a very old-fashioned caveman-like person. I have these things called pencils sometimes, and I just start jotting notes. But that's the challenge, is being able to have a conversation over the internet across the ocean and be able to have a conversation without kind of stepping over someone.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. You're right.
But
well, you could direct it and you could go square number one. Square number one, it's your turn. Square number two, now it's your turn.
It's like Hollywood squares. But I mean, the beautiful thing is that no matter who you talk to, all over the world, we all now have the same exact problem. And that's the beautiful thing. When we all got individual problems, and this group is struggling against that group is, and that group, the fact that we are being taken on by a global organization is beautiful, because it, more than anything else, is uniting people from all over the world. Well, it's uniting free-thinking people. It's uniting open-minded people. It's uniting people from all over the world on a consistent message, which is, we don't want to be ruled. We're adults. We can put our pants on. We can change our own diapers, and we may not even need face diapers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they just need to get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let us live.
Yeah, true.
I just want to live. I just want to live my life. That's all I want to do. Damn it.
And that's all you were born to do. You were born to live this life. You are here for a reason. There's something that you contribute to the human race. And denying you that to force you to go off and work for billionaires and make money and pay a mortgage and pay a penalty for being born in the country, it's insanity.
Right.
It's insanity.
Well, I'm gonna thank you for having me on, Gerard. Christine, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure to meet you too. Now I know you. I didn't know you before.
We will
Nice.
hopefully we will get together and get to know each other even more, just like Gerard and I are. So I appreciate everybody, Gerard, and God bless you today. Okay, have a
Yeah.
Thank
great
you so much. Appreciate you joining. We are just wrapping up.
Okay.
So if you guys got any last words.
Well, it was nice actually talking with all the panels. It was really nice. Yeah, it worked out very fine. I mean, I think if we do it more, it's getting better and better. And I think, yeah.
I think we did pretty good. I mean, for
Yeah.
first time for this particular group together, I was very impressed. And then with the gentleman coming in from France, just
Yeah.
all of a sudden was really cool. So I really like the international feel that you're starting to develop, Gerard, in terms of your broadcasting. And I think it's great, and I just love it. So I just love it. And I just love, being able to get the opinions of the other countries, the people in the other countries that have different perspectives and some of the same perspectives. And anyway, I just thought it was great as well. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate and thank you for everybody joining. I think you'll find, Joe, there's a good bunch of people around here, and there are a lot of like minds, and we'll
Yeah.
get it figured out.
We're getting it figured out. Yeah.
So
All right.
thanks.
Yep. God bless you. Have a
Yeah.
good
Thanks
day.
for everybody.
Bye bye. Bye
God
bye.
bless you.
Yeah.